I thought I knew my life. I thought I knew love. Hey, have you seen the latest report? I called from the living room expecting the usual hum of domestic chatter. Silence. Odd, I thought. I walked toward the study, my steps light, casual. That's when I saw it. Her laptop, open, a message on the screen. My wife, typing words meant for someone else. Someone named Ethan. My chest tightened. I read, "Can't wait to see you tonight. I know the kids are asleep. What the hell?" I muttered. My voice trembled. My mind refused to believe it. How could she? I entered the room fully, and there she was, looking up from her phone. What are you doing? I tried to keep my voice steady, but it cracked. "Oh, hi," she said, too calm, too casual. "Just checking emails." "Emails?" I echoed, my fingers curling into fists. "Really? Because I just saw a very personal email to Ethan." Her eyes flickered, something like guilt, or was it irritation? "I don't know what you mean. Don't lie to me," I shouted, though part of me wanted to scream, cry, disappear. "How long has this been going on?" She hesitated. "Then it's complicated." "Complicated?" "Complicated?" My mind raced. Betrayal. Lies. Every smile she'd given me, every kiss, every late-night excuse, it all felt hollow now. "I trusted you," I whispered, almost to myself. "I loved you." "And I love you," she said, her voice soft, deceptive. "But feelings, they happen. You know that?" I shook my head. "No, not like this." "You promised." "You promised me everything." Her assistant, Ethan, walked in. "Everything okay?" he asked, pretending innocence. My heart pounded. Rage surged. "Yeah, everything's fine," I said, the words bitter, sharp. "Just realizing the people I trusted most are liars." Ethan's smirk disappeared. "I don't save it," I cut him off. "You don't get to talk." I left the room, needing air, needing silence. I wandered through the house, touching nothing, seeing nothing, hearing only the echo of my own heartbeat. How had I missed the signs? The late nights, the secret calls, the way she avoided me. All pieces now fit into a picture I didn't want to see. I sat in the living room, staring at the city lights, my hands trembling. I couldn't eat. I couldn't think. I only felt the cold, heavy weight of betrayal. I hated them both, yet part of me hated myself more. For being blind, for loving blindly, for letting this happen. Why? I whispered to the empty room, my voice cracking. Why me? No answer came. Only the silence. Only the truth I couldn't escape. My perfect life was gone, and I had no idea what to do next. I woke up the next morning feeling hollow. My coffee sat untouched, steam curling into the air, mocking me. "Morning," she said from the kitchen, smiling as if nothing had happened. "Morning," I replied, my voice flat. "You okay?" she asked, tilting her head. Concern, fake or real, I couldn't tell. "I'm fine," I said. A lie, but the easiest one. Later, at the office, I couldn't focus. Every glance at her or Ethan felt like a punch. He greeted me with that smug smile. "Hey," he said casually, as if we were friends. "Hi," I muttered, my jaw tight. I replayed their messages in my head. Every detail, every stolen smile, every hidden meeting. I had been blind. How had I not seen it? During a meeting, my friend Mark leaned toward me. "You all right?" he whispered. "You've been off all week." "I'm fine," I said, forcing a smile. "Just tired. You sure?" "You look..." He trailed off, eyes scanning the room. "Distracted," I wanted to shout. Wanted to tell him everything. But I couldn't, not yet. Not when my mind was racing. Every conversation with her at home, every interaction at work, every subtle sign I'd ignored flashed before me. At lunch, she sat across from me, sipping her tea. "I think we should talk," she said sweetly. "About what?" I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. "Us." "I feel like things have been tense," she said, pretending innocence. "Things have been tense?" I laughed bitterly. "You mean since I found out about you and Ethan?" She froze, then tried to recover. It's not what you think. Not what I think?" I slammed my hand lightly on the table. "You were planning your entire life behind my back. And now you act like I'm imagining it?" Ethan appeared behind her chair. "Maybe we should all calm down," he said smoothly. "Calm down?" I snapped. "You have no idea what calm feels like." Later, I sat alone in my office. The hum of the city outside felt distant, disconnected. Every laugh, every casual glance from colleagues seemed like a reminder of my humiliation. My hands clenched into fists. I could feel anger bubbling under the surface, hot and sharp. But I also felt something else. Planning, patience, observation. If I acted impulsively, it would be wasted. I had to understand them, wait for the right moment. Every word they spoke, every smirk, every careless step, it was all fuel. Mark knocked on the door. "You sure you're okay?" I nodded. "Yeah, just busy." As he left, I stared at the empty chair across from me. I pictured her smug smile, Ethan's arrogance. My mind mapped every move I would make. Every slight, every humiliation, every betrayal would be returned. Not yet. Patience first. Observation first. Power later, I whispered to myself, almost inaudible. I won't be blind again. I'll watch. I'll wait. And when the time comes, they'll see exactly who I am now. And in that silence, with my chest tight and my mind racing, I realized something. Pain was temporary. Strategy, patience, and resolve that would last. And I would use them both, one step at a time. I told myself I could handle it. I told myself I would be calm. "You look radiant tonight," Ethan said, loud enough for others to hear as he looped an arm around her. His grin made my stomach twist. I forced a smile. "Thanks," she replied, fingers brushing his sleeve. The ballroom glittered. People laughed, clinked glasses. I felt like an outsider in my own life. "Do you want a drink?" Mark asked, stepping close. "You seem distant?" "I'm fine," I said, voice tight. He studied me. "If you need me, I'm here." "Good," I muttered. I watched them move, their easy closeness a needle. "So, you two enjoying the company?" I said, trying casual. "Of course." "It's a celebration," she answered, eyes steady. Ethan raised his glass. "To success," he announced. "And to new partnerships." "To success," I echoed, tone flat. The band started a slow song. Couples took the floor. She pulled Ethan to dance, laughing. Each step tightened something in me. "Can I talk to you?" she asked later, voice soft. I followed her to the balcony, the city spread below. "What now?" I asked. "I wanted you to know I appreciate everything you've done," she said. "The company, the parties, the image. I couldn't have done it without you." "You couldn't?" I laughed, bitter. "So honesty didn't matter?" "You're being dramatic." "People change," she said. "Feelings change?" I shot back. "You said vows." "You promised." I did. "But life is complicated." Ethan appeared, leaning in the door. "Everything okay here?" he asked, too smooth. "Everything's fine," she said, avoiding my eyes. "Do you want me to give you space?" Ethan offered. "We can talk later." "I don't need space from him," she said, but it sounded rehearsed. Mark joined us, concern on his face. "You two arguing?" "No," I said. "Just discussing the event." "Talk to me," Mark urged. "You're holding everything in." "I'm not ready to explode," I admitted. "Not here." "Then wait," he said. "But don't do anything reckless. Gather proof if you need it." "Gather proof?" I scoffed. "You want me to spy?" "Be smart," he replied. "Anger is loud. Strategy wins." His words landed like a plan forming. I breathed the night air, feeling resolve. "Will you help?" "Quietly?" Mark met my eyes. "Yes, but no illegal moves." "Neither will I. I want them exposed, not destroyed." "That's sensible," he said. I ran into Claire from legal near the bar. "You look pale," she said, voice low. "Everything okay?" "Fine," I lied. "Just tired." "Call me if you need anything," she offered. "You know my number." "Thanks," I said. Her kindness helped. Later, Ethan mouthed something. She smiled and it tightened my jaw. Mark squeezed my hand. "Tonight we start watching," he whispered. Quietly. "I won't fail," I whispered back. I watched them return to the crowd, laughing, unaware or pretending not to see. Cold clarity settled in me. Pain was still sharp, but beneath it something else had grown. Patient anger. "I won't let this go," I told the empty balcony. "Good," Mark said beside me. "You deserve to win, right?" "And what does winning look like?" I asked. "Control," he said. "Not vengeance for its own sake." "Take your life back." "I will," I said. "Not with scenes. With proof, and the quiet satisfaction of watching faults break them." Mark clapped my shoulder. That's the man I know. I watched their backs. The betrayer's smirk flashed under the chandeliers. And when it's over, I'll be different, I thought. I pulled my coat tighter, feeling the first true cold of determination. I sat at my desk, staring at the papers, but I wasn't reading. The office hum felt distant. Mark leaned against the doorframe. "You've been quiet all day," he said. "Quiet?" I laughed bitterly. I've been replaying every moment of my life for the past week. "Don't let it consume you," he said. "You need perspective." "Perspective?" I shook my head. I trusted her, blindly. I was blind. "Yeah," Mark said, "but understanding that is the first step." "What did you miss?" I frowned. Everything. The calls she took, the evenings she claimed were work, the way she avoided my questions. I was naive. I wanted to believe in perfection. "You weren't stupid," he said. "You just loved too much." I loved and ignored the signs, I muttered. I let complacency slip in, and now, I trailed off, staring at the empty chair across from me. Mark sat down. "Now you act, but before that you understand them. Understand what drives them. Not just her, but Ethan too." I remembered moments I had brushed off, the subtle smiles, the whispered jokes, the way Ethan always seemed to be around when she needed someone. I had dismissed them. I didn't see the manipulation, I admitted. "They're clever," Mark said. "You need to be cleverer." I clenched my fists. I let my guard down. I thought marriage was enough. That trust would protect me. I was wrong. Mark nodded. "You can't change the past, but you can control what comes next. Knowledge is your weapon." Later, I overheard Ethan speaking to a junior colleague. "Make sure she doesn't see this report. It could ruin our timing." I froze. Proof of manipulation. A small but crucial detail. I remembered another time in the office cafeteria. She laughed at a joke Ethan made, a glance exchanged that meant nothing to the rest of the world, but everything to them. I had ignored it, smiled politely, and turned away. "You see it now," I whispered to myself. Every sign I missed, every chance I ignored. They were playing a game and I was a pawn. Mark's voice interrupted my thoughts. "You know the truth now. Don't let emotion guide you. Strategy does." "I need patience," I said aloud, though no one else was there. "I need leverage. I have to understand them completely, every weakness, every flaw." I remembered my mistakes, late-night trust, blind forgiveness, and my own fear of confrontation. Each memory stung, but each also gave clarity. "They've underestimated me," I told myself. "They think I'm broken, but I'm learning, observing, waiting." Mark checked in again. "Are you okay?" "I'm better than okay," I said, finally with a calm edge. "I'm focused, and now I know what I need to do." "You'll take your life back," Mark said. "Yes," I replied, not with blind rage, but with calculation. Step by step, every move precise. "They won't know it's coming until it's too late." I leaned back, eyes narrowing. Shadows of the past were heavy, but they taught me everything I needed. Mistakes, yes, but also the path forward. I would rise from this, and when I did, they would see the man I was meant to be. I walked into the office early, pretending casual interest in the morning chaos. Mark trailed behind. "Ready for this?" he whispered. "As ready as I'll ever be," I replied, glancing at the assistants bustling around. My eyes found her, my wife, already issuing orders, smiling at her team, unaware I was watching. "You're going to start small," Mark said. "Observe first. Learn their habits." "I see everything," I muttered. "Every detail matters." Later, I approached the finance team. "Can someone walk me through last quarter's report?" I asked. "Sure," a junior analyst said. "It's a bit complicated." "I have time," I said, leaning in. I asked questions, probing gaps, noting inconsistencies. My mind ticked. Mistakes they thought insignificant, oversights, miscalculations, became my first tools. She walked past, laughing at a joke Ethan made. The sight churned something dark in me. "Patience," I whispered. "Observation first." During lunch, Mark leaned close. "You notice how she micromanages and he overpromises?" "Yes," I said, excitement creeping into my voice. "It's sloppy, predictable. That's leverage." "You need guidance," Mark said. "I can introduce someone who can teach you the finer points, legally, financially." "Do it," I said. The idea of learning, of arming myself, thrilled me. By afternoon, I sat with Claire, our legal advisor. quietly taking notes. If we document every irregularity, every misstep, it can be used strategically, she explained. I see, I said. Not for destruction, but to regain control? Exactly, she nodded. Precision is key. Overreaction will ruin everything. I felt a thrill I hadn't expected. Revenge had a rhythm, a plan, a strategy. And yet a small voice nagged, "Are you becoming what you hate?" I pushed it aside. Not now, not yet. Every question I asked, every observation I recorded sharpened my mind. Every slip from her or Ethan added to my growing arsenal. Later, I confronted a department head. I noticed discrepancies in the supply chain reports.
Can you clarify?
Yes, sir. Some delays, miscalculations? Document it. All of it, I said firmly. I saw fear flicker in their eyes. Not fear of me personally, but fear of exposure, accountability. That fear could be useful. She stormed past my desk later, calling, "Who approved this decision?" I smiled faintly, noting the confusion on her face as I quietly whispered to Mark, "Her moves are sloppy." Just as I thought, Ethan passed by, pretending to be casual. "Busy?" he asked. "Always," I replied, my tone measured. "And observant," Mark chuckled softly. "You're different today. You're thinking ahead." "I have to," I said, gripping my pen like a weapon. "I've been blind for too long. Now every word, every action, it's a piece of the puzzle. I'll rebuild control quietly and precisely. And when the time comes," Mark's eyes gleamed with approval, "then they won't know what hit them." "No," I said, almost whispering. Not a single hint. By evening, I reviewed notes, cross-checking weaknesses, patterns, missteps. The thrill of planning, of reclaiming power, filled me with a strange energy. The line between anger and strategy blurred, but I didn't care. This was my chance, my moment, my beginning. And as I left the office, I whispered to the empty corridor, "I won't just watch. I'll strike, and it will be perfect." I moved like a shadow that week, small changes, no fanfare. "Morning," I said to reception. "Any messages?" "Just a few," she replied. "Put them through," I said, watching the flow. Later, I called a meeting. "We need to review the East Division numbers," I announced. She raised an eyebrow. "Is this necessary?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "There are inconsistencies." Ethan leaned back. "You're taking this seriously." "I am," I replied. "Mistakes cost us money." Afterwards, Claire pulled me aside. "You're careful," she murmured. "Careful is all I can be," I said. I sent subtle emails. "Please attach full receipts for Q3 suppliers," I wrote. Replies came incomplete. A junior manager stopped by. "Some vendors never send detailed invoices," she said. "Document that," I told her. Her hands shook as she typed. I felt a quiet thrill watching compliance. At lunch, Ethan cornered me. "You're poking around," he said. "I'm asking questions," I replied. He smiled thinly. "Be careful. You don't want to upset the wrong people." "I'm upset," I said. "But I'm strategic." That night, my wife called my name in the hallway. "Why are you doing this?" she asked.
Why are you doing that?
I answered. "We're partners. This is work. Can't you separate the two?" "Partners don't lie," I said. Small victories accumulated. An expense report showed inflated travel costs. "Someone approved a private flight under corporate expense," I said during a review. She stammered, "That was a mistake." "Was it?" I asked. "We should look into approval chains." Ethan muttered, "This is petty." "It's accountability," I replied. Word spread quietly. Colleagues who had been kind in private began offering nods. "Nice work," Mark whispered in the corridor. "You're cutting through their cover." "Thanks," I said, feeling a low, sour satisfaction. I watched them falter. A supplier called complaining about delayed payment. "We've sent everything," he told accounts. "Why hasn't it cleared?" Claire's team dug in. "There's a hold," she said later. "Someone altered the schedule. Coincidence?" I asked. "Maybe." My voice was calm. Inside, my pulse quickened. At a small board rehearsal, she snapped at a director. "You missed the forecast," she said sharply. He lied. Later, he whispered, "I'll back you up. If you need me." "Keep the details," I said. "We might use them." Ethan grew louder in public, sterner in tone. "We can't have sloppiness," he declared. His effort to control spoke of panic. I watched his shoulders, the way he avoided direct questions. It was unraveling. In a quiet corridor, the junior manager stopped me again. "Sir," she said, voice low, There are emails, months of requests to delay invoices. I thought it was normal. Show them to Claire, I said, and tell no one else. I won't, she said. I couldn't sleep after finding them. That confession felt like a gift. Thank you, I said. Her fear was genuine. It meant the web was looser than they believed. Are you okay? Mark asked that evening. I'm focused, I answered. Don't let it change you, he warned. There's a line. I know, I said, but I have to push until cracks appear. I savored the subtle collapses, the wrong invoices, the missed calls, the phantom approvals. Each tiny failure was a step down from their throne. Guilt prickled, but success tasted like power. The moral line blurred, yet the end seemed visible. What's next? Claire asked in legal. Wait, I said. We let them fall by their own weight. We guide, she nodded. I'll prepare documentation. Good, I said. We move when cracks are undeniable. I left humming with a new rhythm. My moves were small, invisible, precise. They believed themselves untouchable. They underestimated the man who had been hurt and learned to watch. Mark called after me. Remember to stay human. I smiled thinly. I will, I lied. Inside, I felt both anger and a dangerous calm settling, and patience guiding me. I walked into the office with a calm that surprised even me. Mark followed, a quiet shadow. Looks like the first cracks are showing, he whispered. I nodded, scanning the floor. She was on the phone, face pale. No, the numbers don't match, she shouted. Ethan hovered behind her, trying to calm her, but even his confidence wavered. I approached casually. Everything okay? I asked, voice neutral. She turned, eyes sharp. Yes. Fine, she said. Though her hands trembled, Ethan tried to interject. We're handling it. You seem stressed, I said, faint smile. I hope it's not the East Division again. Don't mock me, she snapped, red creeping up her neck. I'm not, I said softly. Just concerned about the company. Later in the boardroom, the CFO presented reports. There's a discrepancy in supplier payments, he said. Some invoices were duplicated or missed entirely. I leaned forward. Who approved this? She stammered. I thought Ethan did, and he thought you did, I said. Mistakes happen, but patterns are concerning. Ethan's smirk faltered. We'll correct it immediately. Yes, I said, calm. Document every correction. Transparency matters. By mid-afternoon, whispers spread across the office. Minor managers exchanged nervous glances. The assistant who had once flaunted authority now faltered. It's just a clerical error, Ethan said to someone. Clerical errors repeat, I said quietly, observing. And repeated errors are your responsibility. She bit her lip, muttering, This can't be happening now. I smiled inwardly. Patience had borne fruit. Every small misstep, every faltered decision was feeding the unraveling I orchestrated. Mark appeared at my door. They're panicking. Yes, I said. And we stay quiet. Let them break themselves. A new challenge emerged in the afternoon. A minor rival from corporate, Daniel, approached me. I hear you've been taking notes, observing. Don't think you can quietly undermine without scrutiny. I'm not undermining, I replied smoothly. I'm ensuring accuracy. He narrowed his eyes. Accuracy can be selective. Selective? I said calm. I prefer honesty. Isn't that what the company needs? He hesitated, then walked away, but his presence reminded me that the game had players beyond my immediate targets. Observation was more important than ever. By evening, reports piled on her desk. Emails she hadn't answered arrived. Vendors complained. She glared at Ethan. This is your fault. No, yours, he shot back. Tension crackled. I leaned against a wall, quietly noting their cracks. Claire appeared at my side. Do you see it? She asked. Yes, I whispered. Every panic, every misstep, every faltered command. The empire they thought untouchable is wobbling. Be careful, she said. This is intoxicating but dangerous. I know, I said, letting the thrill sit beside caution. Revenge tastes sweet, but a misstep now could ruin everything. As the day ended, I watched them leave, shoulders tight, eyes wary. Minor managers nodded toward me in quiet solidarity. The whispers weren't secrets anymore. They were warnings, awareness spreading like wildfire. Mark nudged me gently. Tomorrow it gets worse. Are you ready? I'm ready, I said. My calm exterior belied the fire inside. Every small victory fueled both satisfaction and caution. The shift was clear. I was regaining control, quietly, methodically, and as I left the office, I whispered to myself, step by step. Every weakness counts, and when the moment comes, they'll see who truly holds the power. I arrived at the office early, but the air felt different. Tension buzzed beneath the surface. Mark approached, frowning. Something's off, he muttered. What is it? I asked. A junior ally, Liam. He's been feeding information to Ethan. I froze, then nodded slowly. Good. That tells me they're nervous. He'll reveal more than he thinks. Later, I cornered Liam in the break room. I heard you've been helpful to others outside your role, I said softly. He tensed. I don't know what you mean. Don't lie to me, I said. I know. Every move matters and I notice patterns. I didn't. You did, I interrupted. But I can help you. Align with the right side. With me. His eyes widened. You want me to switch? Yes, I said calmly. There's opportunity in loyalty, and consequences in betrayal, he hesitated. And if I refuse? Then we document your choices, I said. Carefully. Transparency matters. Later in the corridor, she caught me alone. You're too quiet, she said, narrowing her eyes. Are you plotting something? Plotting? I echoed. I'm observing. You should too. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I don't like this tone. Tone? I asked. It's factual. You'll see soon enough. Ethan appeared behind her. What are you two whispering about? Nothing, I said smoothly. Just corporate strategy, he studied me. Strategy, huh? Yes, I said. Patience and observation. The right moves at the right time. Later, I reviewed reports Liam provided after our conversation. Errors she hadn't noticed. Miscalculations Ethan had ignored. They were small but consistent. Every document, every number, a crack in their confidence. At lunch, Mark leaned close. You're playing a dangerous game. One slip and they'll suspect. I know, I whispered, but they don't see me yet. Not fully. Careful with obsession, he warned. You need clarity, not just revenge. I have clarity, I said. Obsession is irrelevant. This is precision. In the afternoon, she called a meeting. Why are these errors happening? She demanded. Errors are human, I said, voice neutral. But patterns require attention. Ethan tried to intervene. We'll fix it. Don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene, I replied. I'm noting facts. Oversight costs us eventually. Later, Liam pulled me aside. Are you really going to do this? Yes, I said. Every weak point, every hesitation, every false step, it all matters. You'll see how a small shift changes the game. Are you sure about your line? He asked nervously. I am, I said. Patience first. Observation first. And when the time comes, everything they built will wobble without realizing I nudged it. As evening came, I watched her through the glass walls, orchestrating her team, brow furrowed, tension evident. Ethan hovered too close, offering advice, but missteps continued. I whispered to myself, barely audible. They don't know yet. They won't see me coming. Every move, every hesitation, it's all mine now. Mark appeared at my side. You look different today. Sharper, I said. Focused. Calm but aware. The board, the empire. It's about patience and small victories, not explosions. Then don't lose yourself, he said softly. I won't, I promised. Not yet. But every misstep they make, every lie they tell, they're paving the way. And I'll be ready when the time is right. I left the office that evening with a pulse quickened by both thrill and anxiety. Every shadow, every subtle betrayal, every silent observation was a step toward control. The game had intensified, and I had never felt more alive. I walked into the boardroom calm as a still lake. Everyone turned. Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of panic hidden behind practiced composure. Good morning, I said, voice steady. Let's begin. She cleared her throat. I thought we... Save it, I interrupted, eyes scanning the room. We're here to review the quarterly results. Ethan's jaw tightened. He tried to interject. You've made mistakes, I said, cutting him off. Patterns that can't be ignored. Today we fix them and I take responsibility. Her face paled. Responsibility? Yes, I said. Every irregularity, every misstep you dismissed or manipulated has been documented. Claire, can you summarize? Claire nodded, laying out the evidence meticulously. All approvals, invoices, and discrepancies are recorded. Patterns are undeniable. Corrective measures are recommended immediately. A murmur ran through the room. My wife's eyes darted from Claire to me. This isn't necessary. We can... No, I said firmly. This is necessary. For the company, for accountability. Ethan glanced at her, but she could only stare. Her carefully built empire was wobbling under the weight of her own errors and lies. Do you understand the consequences? I asked, voice calm, almost gentle. Oversight, manipulation, and deceit have cost the company integrity. She swallowed hard. I made mistakes. I didn't... Mistakes? I repeated. Or deliberate choices. Her mouth opened, then closed. She had no defense. Every excuse I had anticipated, every half-truth I had prepared for, crumbled. The assistant tried to speak. I can explain... You don't need to explain, I said, turning slightly to face him. Your actions are visible. Consequences are clear. What matters now is correcting the damage, not excuses. Mark gave me a small nod from the doorway. I felt the quiet satisfaction of control without cruelty. This was strategy, not vengeance. She sank into her chair, voice small. I'm sorry, I miscalculated. I accept accountability, not apologies, I said. Control is measured in actions, not words. Claire summarized the corrective plan. Reassignments, transparent reporting, and full oversight are in effect immediately. The company will operate efficiently, I nodded. Good, and moving forward, I will lead these operations. We rebuild from here. Her lips trembled. You can't just... Yes, I can, I said softly. I've learned from observation, patience, and strategy. And that has brought us here. Ethan's shoulders slumped. His bravado evaporated. He realized he was powerless now, as I had been for months, silently gathering leverage and calculating every move. Mark whispered, "You've done it." I didn't need to respond. Silence said more than words. The empire that had been theirs now answered to me. I reflected briefly. Triumph without cruelty. Revenge through strategy, not emotion. That was the key. Pride swelled quietly, not boastfully. Satisfaction settled like a warm current, steady and unshakable. I looked at my wife, once untouchable, now humbled, and the assistant, exposed and wary. Their attempts at manipulation and charm had failed. Timing, patience, and careful calculation had won. I allowed myself a small internal smile. Everything I lost, I whispered, I've reclaimed. And more. Mark patted my shoulder. You stayed human through it. Yes, I said. Revenge is sweet, but strategy is sweeter. And this empire will thrive because of foresight, not panic. As I left the room, the murmurs and whispered acknowledgments followed me. Control, power, and dignity, all regained. Silent, calculated, and complete. I had transformed from the betrayed into the strategist, from powerless to empowered. The thrill was there, but tempered by precision. I didn't gloat. I simply knew the game was won and the victory was mine. I sat in my office, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the floor. Mark leaned against the doorway. Quiet moment, he observed. Yeah, I said, rubbing my temples. It's finally quiet. You've come far, he said. More than I imagined. I had to, I replied. I couldn't stay the man I was, the one who let betrayal destroy him. Mark nodded. Do you feel satisfied? I paused. Satisfaction isn't the right word. Relief, maybe. And clarity. I see who I am now, who I can be. She walked in hesitantly. I know I lost, she said softly. Yes, I said, calm. But losing isn't just about power. It's about realizing consequences and accepting them. She hesitated, looking at the papers she had left behind. I underestimated you. You did, I said simply. And that mistake cost both of you. But I won without cruelty. Strategy, not rage. Ethan appeared behind her. His usual arrogance was gone. I misread things, he admitted. Your choices mattered, I said. You all made decisions. Now you face the results. Later, Mark and I reviewed the company's progress. Look at this, he said, pointing to reports. The systems are stabilizing. Employees are responding. Everything is improving. Good, I said. Order restored. Lessons learned. Mark leaned closer. Do you regret the path you took? Regret? I repeated. No, pain shaped me. It left scars, yes, but also strength. I understand boundaries now. I know my limits and my potential. You've changed, he said quietly. I have, I admitted. I was hurt. I was blind. But now observation and patience guide me, not emotion. That's power. Claire joined us. The documentation, the corrections, they worked. The Empire is safe under your guidance, I nodded.
It's more than safe.
It's functional, resilient. And I've learned to trust process over people when necessary. Mark smiled faintly. And personal trust? Reserved, I said. Earned slowly. Betrayal teaches that. I leaned back, recalling every moment. Shock, humiliation, patience, observation, small victories, and finally control. Each step left its mark, but each also brought clarity. I suppose you're wondering if the revenge felt worth it, I said aloud, more to myself than anyone else. It did, Mark said. But you're wiser now. Yes, I murmured. Revenge is intoxicating, but the real victory is knowledge, control over self and circumstance. I've learned resilience, and I've learned who I can trust. She left quietly, her presence less threatening now, her lessons evident. Ethan followed. I felt no need for anger. Their arcs concluded. They faced consequences, understood limits, and moved on in their way. I stared out the window. The city shimmered with life, a reminder that even after betrayal and heartbreak, the world moves forward. I whispered to myself, I am not the man I was. Scars remain, but so does strength. Pain taught me, patience guided me, and strategy saved me. I endure, and I thrive. Mark clapped my shoulder gently. Then the chapter closes. Yes, I said, eyes steady. And the next begins, with wisdom, control, and quiet certainty. The sunlight spilled across my new office, warm and steady. I sipped coffee, listening to the faint hum of the city below. Mark appeared at the doorway, leaning casually. First morning in your own space, he said, smiling. Feels right, I replied. Quiet, controlled. Just the way it should be, he nodded. You've come a long way. Not just with the company, but yourself. I've learned, I said, watching the sunrise cast gold across the skyline. Pain, betrayal? It taught me resilience, patience, strategy. I'm not the same man who walked in here months ago. She entered hesitantly, eyes downcast. I wanted to say, I respect how you handled everything, she murmured. I studied her silently, weighing trust against caution. Respect earned, I said. Actions, not words. Ethan lingered behind her, hands folded. And I understand now. I misjudged priorities. Yes, I said calmly. Understanding is a start. Change is next, Mark chuckled softly. You're surprisingly gracious. I don't need cruelty, I said. Strategy is enough. Consequences were delivered without unnecessary damage. Later, I met with Claire to review upcoming plans. Everything's stabilizing, she said. Teams are responding well. Good, I replied. Stability breeds confidence. Confidence breeds growth, and growth is what we need now, Mark leaned in. Do you ever think about what's left behind? Occasionally, I admitted. The betrayal, the loss. They leave scars, but scars remind us we survived. And sometimes that's more valuable than any victory. I opened a letter on my desk, unsigned but meaningful. A reminder, I murmured, of what patience and observation can achieve. She paused in the doorway. Do you think trust is possible again? Cautious trust, I said. Not blind, not immediate. But yes, it is possible. I took a deep breath, looking out the window. The city pulsed with life, each light a small promise of possibility. The sun climbed higher, illuminating the office, my empire, and my future. Mark clapped my shoulder. Then a new chapter begins. Yes, I said, feeling a rare calm, a quiet certainty. A chapter shaped by experience, tempered by patience, and guided by foresight. I've reclaimed my life and dignity. Now it's time to build, cautiously but confidently. Later, as the day began in earnest, I stood by the window, watching the morning unfold. Each moment felt symbolic, renewal, justice, and opportunity. I had fought, learned, and emerged stronger. The scars of betrayal lingered, but they didn't define me. Strategy had replaced anger, patience had replaced despair, and hope had replaced fear. I was ready for what came next, steady, vigilant, and wiser than ever before. As sunlight filled the room, I whispered to myself, "This is my dawn, my empire, my life, and I will guard it wisely."